Hey everyone, by now you should have read through the syllabus for the class and get a good idea of what we're going to be covering, what we're going to be talking about over the course of this semester. A couple of things I do want to highlight for you as we begin this class and start talking about all the things that we're going to talk about is just remembering that the class really has an emphasis. It's going to build on what you learned from the first preaching class. And so we're going to review some stuff with regards to main idea. But the bulk of the time that we're going to spend together as we work through this is going to focus on three primary areas. The first that we're going to talk about is being able to preach the different difficult or more difficult genres of Scripture and helping you do that more effectively. So we're going to be looking at preaching Old Testament narrative. We're going to be looking at preaching prophetic genre. We're going to be looking at preaching poetry like the Psalms and how we more effectively do that, and as well as wisdom literature and apocalyptic. Now this is not meant to be the be-all end-all. There is certainly much more work that you can be done in those areas, but this is going to give you a good introduction and a good way to focus on those more problematic or maybe more difficult genres for us to preach. The second area that we're going to find ourselves spending a lot of time on is application, making meaningful and relevant applications from the text to the congregation or to those to whom we are speaking or preaching, and doing that in a responsible way, a way that is derived from the text, that comes and flows out of whatever the portion of Scripture is that you're going to be preaching on. I see personally, I said that this is one of the areas that pastors and preachers need the most. I've heard time and time again that it's hard to make good application, or you spend a lot of time in application. And hopefully a lot of what we go through in that particular portion of this class is going to give you a lot of good tools and strategies for making good applications for the congregation from your sermon or in your sermon. The third area, this is the kind of the last area that we're going to cover in this semester, is going to be just on the sermon delivery itself. So how do we deliver a good sermon? And that doesn't necessarily mean we're just focusing on, I need to develop better eye contact, I need to develop less awkward hand gestures or things like that. But actually it does include those things, but it's more about how you construct your sermon and in a way that gets the hearers from that introduction to the conclusion and effectively communicates the big idea or the main idea that you're getting across, and keeps people engaged along the way, avoids bunny trails and digressions and things like that, but really keeps as one of the authors that you're going to read in the semester says, keeps the skis pointed downhill, gets them from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill. So those are kind of the big things that we're going to be talking about, and I'm looking forward to engaging in those with you. Just by way of some, I guess, housekeeping items, in the online classroom, in the online campus, the classroom that you have, there's a couple of tabs that I want you to be aware of. Number one is the course materials tab. You'll find articles, you'll find the portions of the books that you need to read right out of the gate. So if you don't have a hard copy of those right now, that's okay. We've got the chapters or the page selection that you're supposed to read in that course materials tab. You'll find some other things as we go along the semester. I'll put in there. The other thing I want you to be aware of is the course questions. So what the course questions does is, if you have a particular question pertaining to whatever unit that we are in, that's the place to ask it. And I'll be checking those regularly, interacting with those. And the thing with the course questions tab is that once we finish a particular unit, those questions go away. So just be mindful of that as you ask questions, and if there's something in there that you want to hang on to, store it somewhere else because it'll go away once we finish a particular unit. But this is the place for you to ask questions. It doesn't necessarily even have to be of me. It can be with regards to other students as well. Some of your students, if you have a question you just want to kind of put out for interaction, that's perfectly fine too. The other thing I want you to be aware of is the discussion forum. Now, in this particular class, the discussion forum is not something that's built in by way of sort of a graded value attached to those. There's not a requirement for you to post and respond. But one of the things that we're going to be doing is dialoguing regularly. And so the discussion forum is ongoing. So as we move through these different units and these different topics that we're going to be covering, whether you have questions or things that you want to talk about with other students, with me, or if I have things that I want to offer up, we can use that platform for that. And I highly encourage you to visit it regularly, every couple of days at least, and just be a part of the conversation. Obviously, we're going to be meeting weekly via our Zoom platform, but having some way to interact in between those meetings with your fellow students, with me, and me with you, is going to be helpful to get the most out of this class. So you'll see that. And then the last thing I just want to talk about as we begin is that one of the things that you're going to see as you move through the units is a number of these little video vignettes or whatever, where I'm just going to talk about what you're supposed to be getting out of the particular unit. If there's an assignment that is due, sort of give you some interaction or some direction on that assignment over and above what's in the syllabus. So hopefully that helps you, sets you up for success, and gets them for getting the most out of the class. So pay attention, and as you move through these and places where you see these little videos, I would highly encourage you to watch them, not because I like hearing myself talk or necessarily that I have a great camera presence or anything like that, but I do think the information that you'll get in these videos will be helpful in keeping the big thing throughout the whole of this course, and also help you with your assignments and success in getting the most out of this class. Look forward to talking with you more, and look forward to having you be a part of this class, and we're going to have some great interaction.